Heavily flour the surface. Oh, I'm covered in flour. Oh, but I'm sweating into the flour and it's creating dough in my body's crevices. Body dumplings by Josh. Welcome to Mythical Kitchen, where sweet food dreams are made of this. Who am I to disagree? All right, if your Instagram feed is anything like mine, it's probably 90% amateur bodybuilding content, but that other 10% is filled with gloriously drippy, greasy beef tacos being dunked in a steaming cup of bright red broth. There is no greater food porn on the internet than tacos de birria, and it's also one of my favorite foods, which is why I'm combining it with another one of my favorite foods, Xiao Long Bao, aka soup dumplings, to create the absolute food of my dreams. God, I'm all swampy in the pants. And if you're following along at home, we've broken the recipe down into 3 easy steps. You can snag the time codes right there. We also got a full written recipe down in the description. Hey, you! Let's get cooking. All right, so we gotta make the birria now. This is going into our soup dumplings. Birria comes from the state of Jalisco in Mexico, and it is traditionally made with goat. That's birria de chivo, but you can also use lamb, birria de borrego. But then a lot of people attribute the birria de res craze coming from Tijuana, where they're using beef parts. So we're using beef today. I do love goat though. Shout out to Birria Apatzingan in Pacoima, favorite birria de chivo in all of the greater Los Angeles area. Also, shout out to the city of Pacoima. The cuts of beef we are using shank, we are using oxtail, because we want a lot of that gelatinous sort of fluid. Is that an appealing food word to you? We want all that gelatinous fluid to really seize up this broth, because soup dumplings need a solid broth. So we're gonna start by making the marinade for our Birria de Res right now. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take, these are guajillo chilies and ancho chilies. Whoa, waterfall! And these have been soaking. We toasted them up a little bit beforehand. We're gonna add that to the blender right now. Guajillo chilies are the dried version of chile marisol. Ancho chilies are a dried poblano, sometimes called pasillas in certain grocery stores, with some roasted tomatoes. Just roast them in the oven. All right, so this is essentially like a flavor paste or like an adobo that we're gonna add to all of our beef. So we gotta add one more thing. I'm gonna drop some onion in there and then a whole lot of spices. We're gonna, whoa, Nelly! We're gonna drop in some whole cumin seed. We're gonna drop in some whole black peppercorn. Why am I rushing? Does anyone ever ask that? Like, why am I talking so fast? Where do I have to be? Actually, I got pizza being delivered tonight. I'm like trying to get home before that. I'm gonna drop in some Mexican oregano in there and then some garlic cloves. Again, we're just trying to like pack as much flavor into this. I absolutely love Xiao Long Bao, but like the flavor profile of a rich birria broth that you get in the consomme is so delicious. I want that all in one place. So now I'm gonna put the lid on Vitamix, kind of jam that in there. Is this plugged in? No, I never plugged it in. Oh, I'm sorry. It needs electricity. Ah, okay, Trevor, run! Run! I'm gonna put a little vinegar in there because I love the acid that really mixes with that beef fat. Woo! A lot of people have told me they don't like the bit where I yell over the blender. So instead of just talking a normal voice, because that's what I'm essentially like the broth. I like to use cuts of meat that take like a really long time to cook. Then you can get all nice and sort of gelatinous. And now we just have marrow bones. What you do with Xiao Long Bao is typically there's a very gelatinous broth that's made with a lot of pork skin that you like cut into solid cubes. So we're gonna try and create a heavily gelatinous broth using a bunch of soup bones. And now I'm gonna take all that delicious chili mixture, and just dump that all over there. And we're gonna cook this for about 6 hours until it is just like incredibly, incredibly tender. Take a couple bay leaves and a cinnamon stick. That's gonna be nice and perfumey. A hefty, hefty pinch of salt all over that, but always under salt before you braise because you can always salt immediately after. Now I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna fly it in a 325-degree oven. Gonna be about 6 hours. We're gonna cover it and get it in there. Okay. Hello! All right, so we had the birria in the oven for 6 hours, and now I'm transferring it back on the stovetop, and oh, Maggie, you seen that? Look at it, we got this glorious film of red fat, and this is very typical of birria. All right, so now what we're gonna do, we're gonna strain out all the meat and bones, then we're gonna boil down the broth for an additional like 30 minutes, and then we're gonna set it in here. And then we're gonna set it in here and it's really gonna jelly up. Now what you can do is just take that jelly and just eat it like you would a Jell-O cup. Just slurp it down. I'm gonna strain out all this beef. Oh, best part about oxtail is you see when like all the meat just comes off that bone right there, but then you can take the end of it and go, and suck all that collagen off. Oh, we're gonna let this broth continue to reduce a bit. I'm going to thicken up a little bit so I know it's gonna tighten into like a nice solid Jell-O because we eventually have to cut that up, then mix that with the shredded meat, and then that is going into our dumpling dough. All right, so this has continued to boil for an indeterminate amount of time. Now I'm gonna take this broth and I'm just gonna lay it in a flat sheet pan. We want this to come up about ½ centimeter to a full centimeter. And now we're gonna take this, we're gonna fly it into the fridge. We're gonna get like a nice, lovely red film of fat on it, and I want all that to go into the dumplings. Just gonna steam it nice, and then you can just snack on the ends of your oxtails. All right, see ya. I'll be back, hopefully. If I don't come back, call somebody, because I've gone missing. All right, now that we got that birria setting up, what we're gonna do is make the dumpling skins for our Xiao Long Bao, typically associated with the city of Shanghai and typically associated with my apartment every Friday night. Shout out to Dan Modern Chinese on Setel. This whole show is just gonna be me shouting out my favorite restaurants because they have honestly meant so much to me during quarantine. And soup dumplings travel like, you wouldn't think they travel well. They travel shockingly well. You pop them in the microwave for 8 seconds, piping hot, just like a Pop-Tart. We have warm water here, and this is just all-purpose flour. What we're gonna do is we're gonna add this water about 1/3 at a time. It's just this simple water and flour dough, and we're gonna try and get it like as thin as possible. So Xiao Long Bao, the dough needs to be rested and kneaded a fair amount. You wanna knead it until the water actually cools down, and then the dough is very elastic. Yeah, I need to work on the cardio. I'm gonna go jog a couple laps, work on that cardio, because now we have to set this in here, cover it with a wet towel. We're gonna let it rest for about 20 minutes, and we're gonna knead it for another 5 minutes, and we're gonna let it rest for another 10 minutes, and then we get to start rolling out and eating our dumplings. This is a lot of work, but I promise you there's a payoff. All right, so we have our dough that's been rested and kneaded twice, and I'm gonna cut this into one could call them 2 halves, and then I'm gonna roll this out. Yeah, that's nice. Oh, nails on chalkboard, oh my God. I made the noise with this, the nails on the chalkboard sound makes my nipples hard. It's not like an arousal thing. You can actually see the change. Yeah, isn't that weird? Yeah, I have very reactive nipples. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the dough and I'm gonna roll it into logs. We need to cut these. Oh, I can't stop thinking about that noise. We're gonna cut them into like little rounds, little nubbins. Give me a second. So now I'm gonna cut this in the little nubbins. I don't wanna make the nipple noise again. These nipples are about to get harder than they've ever been. And then we're gonna push these into like rounds, and then we're gonna roll each dumpling out by hand. So what I'm doing, I've floured these rounds. I'm just gonna push them in the palm of my hand. I'm gonna try and flatten them out, and then we need to roll these out very, very thin. Heavily flour the surface. Oh, I'm covered in flour. Oh, but I'm sweating into the flour, and it's creating dough in my body's crevices. Body Dumplings by Josh. Maggie, how can I get the camera to see this? Should I be here? All right, so what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna roll this, instead of rolling it from the inside out, we're gonna roll it from the outside in, because we want the center to be a little bit thicker than the edges, because the edges need to pleat over themselves. So we're just gonna give it a little turn as we roll, make sure this is well floured. There we go. Uh-oh, I'm slipping. Normally you wouldn't do it sitting in this nice position, but here we are. Frankly, you know, this feels nice. We don't ever get to chat, just you and me, you know? You know, some of it's me blab and blah, blah, blah about myself. You know, I never talk to you about what you want. I'm cramping in my butt. And continue to roll turn until this is very thin. You want it to be like almost translucently thin. We gotta take our soup dumpling mixture. We got all that birria broth that has set up. We're gonna mix that with our meat. We're gonna start filling these dumplings. I'm gonna make some rounder ones while you're not watching. And then we're gonna steam them, and then we're gonna eat them. And then I'm gonna order takeout from Birria Patsingan up in Pacoima. Okay, so we have our steamer basket right here. I'm just gonna pop that right on top of here. Why would I do that? No, I should probably just leave it here, and then I'll put the dumplings in there and then put it on there. I jumped the gun, hold on. So what we do have though is a big old thing of beef jello. So this is that birria broth that we strained off. What I'm gonna do is cut this into like about 1/2 centimeter cubes, just go into cross sections. I'm really excited for all this red fat to just like ooze out of these dumplings once they get all nice and steamy. So what you do is you put the cold soup in the dumpling with the meat, and then you steam it, and then these dumpling wrappers are like water sealed, like a dolphin's beehole. Don't mind the dolphin anatomy lesson. So now I'm gonna take this, and you just see all these beef jello cubes. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take those cubes in there, about maybe 50-50 ratio, maybe 60 meat, 40 soup. Can I do it with my hands? You want to create a kind of mush. There we go, and then we're gonna get nice big old soup pockets. I gotta wash my hands, I'm sorry. I didn't expect to touch it with my hands. All right, now we have to fold these dumplings. I'm gonna take a nice scoop of this. Yeah, Try and pinch, and then fold and tuck and walk my fingers around it. We're doing it. There we go, and continue to pleat around. Yeah. It's not the prettiest thing, but I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna twist it and kind of push it down a little bit. All right, so it's wrapping up the last soup dumpling. We're just gonna get that into our steamer basket. We're gonna take bamboo lid, pop that closed, get it on a steaming pot of water. Woo! All my body crevice dumplings are now just weeping. Now it is a body crevice crepe batter. We're gonna let that steam for about 10 minutes, and then this has been so much buildup. I've never wanted to eat a dish so bad. Also, the salad I had for lunch did not satisfy. All right, so the dumplings have been steaming for about 10 minutes. I'm just gonna pull that lid off, see where they're at. Oh, look, I wanted to touch them, but I shouldn't. Wow, these look absolutely incredible. Especially you can see where we got better at folding the dumplings as we went around. I got a little lime juice, a cilantro stem, onion, jalapeno in there. Typically it would be black vinegar with ginger. I cannot freaking wait to dig into these. I'm so hungry, lunch was not satisfying. All right, these look absolutely incredible. I can't wait to get into it. I'm gonna take my soup spoon. These got way too large for the soup spoon. I'm just gonna load this up in here. And then what I like to do is I like to bite the nipple off and then I put a little bit. I'm gonna take some of this lime juice, the cilantro. Oh, it's everything I wanted more. Uh-oh, wait, I gotta flip it. That's like, hold on. No, give me a second though. I mean, this is absolutely incredible. It functions as a soup dumpling. You get that huge rush of that like chili spiked birria juice, the lime, the acid from all that sets it off. It's the best of both worlds for the Birria Taco and the Xiao Long Bao. I mean, I think this is really freaking good, but don't take my word for it. Take the self-professed dumpling queen, V. V denies that she called herself the dumpling queen once, like 3 months ago, and I respect that.
I'm not a dumpling queen, I'm a dumpling fiend. There's a difference.
Maybe you said dumpling fiend and I just thought you said dumpling queen. Do you want me to load this up with some of the lime? Wait, it's dripping. No,
wait,
just go, V, go.
Wait, okay, wait.
V, you gotta go fast, go fast, go fast.
Bite the top first.
Yeah, bite the top, bite the nipple. I got my hand supporting you. I got, oh, this is like a duck. It's like feeding a duck. Bite the nipple. V, pour some of the juice in. No, get something on it.
Wait.
The hot soup is leaking out of my hand. We're fine, we're fine.
Yeah.
Shove it
you need
in.
that burn, yeah.
Ow.
Oh.
Yeah, go one bite. Oh, look, champion.
Whoa.
How was it?
So the juice kind of like hits you right away, but it's so savory that it just makes the whole thing. But then when we opened up I'm not gonna say that word you used, but when we put the juice in it.
Nipple's a gender neutral word. Everyone's got nipples.
Back to the dumplings, they're amazing, and it definitely tops it off with all that lemon juice. It was great.
Thank you, V, so much. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for stopping by the Mythical Kitchen. We got new shows for you every week. We got new episodes of our podcast, A Hot Dog is a Sandwich, every Wednesday, wherever you get your podcasts. I am absolutely covered in beef juice. Hit us up on Instagram at Mythical Kitchen with pictures of your mythical dishes under hashtag Dreams Become Food. Show me pictures of your beef juice stained hands. You can cook up your own feast while wearing the Mythical Kitchen apron, available now at mythical.com.